going to put this is already on. Hey, this is already on Classroom, right here. All right, it's already on. Let me show you. It's already on Classroom, so there's no need to copy everything down. If you want to make some little notes here or there, that's fine. But this is already on Classroom. Let's see, period 5 under classwork. That's where I post everything. Unit 1, everyone see quiz number 1 review topics. That's the slide right now I'm about to show you. Okay, so it's already up on Classroom for you to go back this weekend. It's 7 questions, 24 points, 1 construction from yesterday. Now, look, I want you to be prepared for this and to put a good first effort into this, meaning I don't want you to dig yourself a deep hole where you're never going to get out of it in the first quarter, right, by doing so bad on this Monday. I want you to be prepared. So I am giving you literally everything I can but the questions, right, but the actual questions. So 1 construct, you will need your compass and straight edge on Monday. That 1 construction I'm going to have you do will either be one of the 4 from homework or find the midpoint, which we did at the end of class yesterday. That's it. I'm telling you what it's going to be because I want to see who's going to prepare for it. To me, an honors level student, when given this information, runs with it and does something with it. Oh, but like he's telling me what's on there. I'm going to make sure I know 1 through 4 and midpoint down cold by the time I get here Monday. That's an honor student to me. All right. So it's going to be one of those 5 constructions from yesterday. Points, lines, and planes. I say facts about them. What I mean about that is if I show you a line, can you write it in symbolic form? Like if I give you this, you can tell me that's line AC. That's line AB, etc. You can write it like that. Vocab, again, there's no definitions. You don't have to write a definition. But if I say name 2 other points that are collinear with point B, you can do that. Okay, because you know what collinear means. All right, coplanar, and then naming a plane. How do you name a plane? Whether it be if I put something in the top corner or 3 points that don't form a line. All right, ways to name a plane. Draw your own diagram. We did this on homework 3 times. I will give you a set of facts, and you have to draw the diagram that has those facts on it. All good? Algebra with line segments. Gianna asked this question during homework today. Where'd it go? Like number 56. That's what I mean with algebra with segments. I'll give you a segment. I'll label some pieces and say, all right, solve for the variable. And what's the length of each piece here? All right, so that's what algebra with segments entails. Midpoint and distance formula. I'm going to say this straight up. I'm going to be honest with everyone. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody about this, but in an honors level class, if you can't come in memorizing 2 formulas correctly, I have no sympathy for you. Well, that plus should have been a minus. Yeah, it should have been a minus. So darn it, put a minus there. All right? Those little things drive me nuts. There's only 2 formulas I'm asking to come in to know on Monday, and that's it. It's not like I'm asking 10. We are right there. So know those formulas and be able to apply them. And then number 8, I think you had one on the homework, but nobody asked about it, so I didn't go over anything. But here's what I mean. Let's say point A is -2.6. The midpoint is 5.9. What's point B, the other endpoint? So that's what I'm talking about with given the midpoint and endpoint, find the other endpoint. If I could spell. And we did a problem where Ben and Kate did a map of their neighborhood and 1 unit equaled, 100 yards? Something similar to that. But I think it's like the town hall, the library, and the high school. All right, so something similar to that problem. Anything I can answer for you guys? What's up?
Will there be any multiple choice or just?
No multiple choice on this one. None. Okay? None. I may ask a distance problem to be left in simplest radical form, but that shouldn't be an issue for us because your calculator automatically puts it in simplest radical form, so that shouldn't be an issue. Anything else you want to ask? Because here's how it goes, just so you know how I do tests and quizzes in here. Tonight's homework, at the end of your notes packet, tonight's homework is not due until Tuesday. Why? Because I want you to focus on the quiz this weekend and not the homework. That has nothing to do with the quiz. All right, so the homework that's due this weekend, or is assigned this weekend, is not due until Tuesday. You walk through the door on Monday, you are getting a quiz. I don't have like, all right, who's got some last minute questions? No, the last minute questions are right now, or if you're going to come after school today and work with me. All right, that's when the last minute questions are. So anything you want to go over? This is up on Classroom for you this weekend, remember? We're all good? Start off on the right foot. Don't bury yourself in a deep hole. Okay, so there we go. We'll see the quiz on Monday. All right, so let's start day 6 now. Day 6, put your compass and straight edge off to the side so it doesn't become a distraction. Again, I just want, are we clear? This has nothing to do with the quiz. It's going to be on the unit test, not the quiz. The quiz is day 1 through 5. 1 through 5. All right, a line has arrows on it, right? If you're going to draw me a line, it's got to have arrows on it. If you take the arrows off, what do you have now? Line segment. All right, now, what if you keep one of the arrows on and take the other one off? You have what's called a ray, which this is the start of class today. This new vocabulary term called a ray. So it is a point. It's a part of a line that consists of a point and the rest of the line and going one way. All right, let's put some labels on this right now. Let's call that endpoint A, and let's put B and C on here as well. If you remember with a line, when I name it, it doesn't matter how I name it. I just need 2 points off that line, right? Everyone remember that. When I named a line segment, I just had to name it with the endpoints. With a ray, when you start naming a ray and writing it geometrically, well, there's your symbol. That shouldn't be a shock, right? On a smaller ray. The first point underneath has to be your endpoint. Okay, so when naming a ray, the first point underneath has to be the endpoint. The second point can be any other point on the ray. So this could be AB, this could be ray AC, but it has to start with A. It has to start with A. Questions? Because if you say BC, that's a totally different ray. Everyone see that? BC would be a totally different ray than AB is. All right. We also have what's called opposite rays. These are two, hey, a little quiz review. 2 collinear rays, meaning they're where? On the same line. 2 rays on the same line, but they have to share the same endpoint. So I'm going to put a line up here with 3 points on here. G, E, and F. In my line here, this diagram consists 2 opposite rays. Only 2. I want to see if you can find those 2 opposite rays. There are a lot of rays in this diagram, but only 2 of them are opposite each other. They're on the same line and they share the same endpoint. Where are those rays? Let's see if you can find them. Which 2 rays are opposite each other? I know there's a bunch of rays on here, but only 2 are opposite because they share the same endpoint. Want to give me one of the rays you think are involved here? 6. Ooh, Thomas?
EF and EG.
Yeah, you're going to give me both. That's fine. EF and EG. Why those 2? Because they share point E. Okay, because they share point E. Okay, good. Anything? All right. Now what happens is I'm going to put 2 rays together, not opposite, but 2 rays together that share the same endpoint. You've seen this before in middle school, haven't you? What's this? That's an angle. Yeah? Oh, gee. That's it. Yeah, okay, I get it now. Yes, an angle. 2 rays coming together, sharing an endpoint. I want to give a name to that endpoint they share now. That's called the vertex of the angle. All right, everybody, a vertex. The endpoint that they share is called the vertex of the angle. Now you see I put a bunch of points and a number inside. We need to now talk about how do you write an angle appropriately geometrically. All right, how do you write it geometrically? We know how to write a line, a ray, a plane. How do I write an angle? Well, there's 3 different ways. One I'd like you to follow, but I want to expose you to all 3. The first way to name an angle is just use the capital letter at its vertex. So this angle I have up here, I could call angle E. Now, what is the symbol for angle I want you to use? There you go. Oh, that's the less than sign. Okay, good job. So, yeah, it's also the angle symbol. Angle E. I can name that angle E. Now, sometimes I get a little fancy and try to impress everybody. So sometimes you'll see me do this for the angle symbol with the arc mark through. That depends on the day I'm having. You know, I could use either one. And you can use either one as well. Mix and match if you want. Very rare, but you'll see it in your textbook. If there's a number or a smaller letter inside the angle, you can name it that way. So I could name this angle 2. Very rare, but I think the textbook uses that way a lot. The way I'd like you to do it, and I'll show you why after I'm done explaining. The way I'd like you to do it, please use 3 letters. And that middle letter is the vertex. All right, I like you to name it with 3 letters every time, and the middle letter is the vertex. So for my angle up here, I'd like you to name it angle BE. Notice I put the vertex in the middle, F. Or you want to get nuts, go backwards, angle FEB. You could name it. Why am I a big fan of 3 letters instead of just the 1 for some of you lazies? Don't do this on your diagram. Watch, I want to prove you a point. Prove a point. If somebody says angle E, anybody got a problem? What's your response? You're going to ask me a question back. What's the question? If I say, hey, guys, look at angle E, what are you going to tell me? Which one? Right? Look, there's 1, 2, 3 angles that have angle E as a vertex. Which one, right? Which one you talking about? That would be my response on a test or quiz. Which one you talking about? But you can never go wrong if you name it with 3 letters. Never go wrong. All good? All right. Drop some knowledge here on me. I just want to review special types of angles. A right angle measures 90 degrees. But let's be honest here. You're never going to see the number 90 written in there. What are we going to see that alerts us that that must be a right angle? Gabby? The box, the square, right? Everyone tells me the square. Yep. Ooh, have you heard of a straight angle before? Anything you know about a straight angle? It's actually a vocab term we know already. A straight angle is another name for, yeah, a line. Yep. And anybody know what the measure is? Measures 180 degrees, yep. All right, superstars, what do you have here? Acute angle. Less than 90. I'm going to make it a little more detailed now that you're in high school. Between 0 and 90. Why do I say between, why don't I just say less than 90? Because when you guys get to Algebra 2 next year, if you make it out of here first, there's such thing as negative angles. All right, and you'll deal with those next year. So that's why I say between 0 and 90. And how about the old obtuse? Obtuse angles. That is, Gabby? More than 90, but less than 180. So between 90 and 180, yep. Because again, next year in Algebra 2, you will be exposed to angles that are bigger than 180 degrees. But for now, you live in 0 to 180. Okay. All right, good work. Before I move on to the next part, can you remind me again a couple things here? Nope, I don't need that. I need that. If 2 segments are congruent, what do you know about them? They have the same length, and what do you see on them? Hash marks, right? So if 2 segments are congruent, their lengths are the same, and they have hash marks on them. Well, what do you know if 2 angles are congruent? they have the same degree measure. So what I want you to do, can you freehand me 2 angles right now that look like they have the same angle measure? Let's call one, let's put a B, an E, and an F here. And let's put an X, a Y, and a Z here. All right, first thing, we don't know they're congruent, right? They look congruent, but we don't know. So just like the segments, I'll go back to this in a second. Just like the segments are congruent, we put hash marks. For an angle, we don't put hash marks on an angle to show they're congruent. Instead, what we use what's called our arc marks. So if I see those 2 arcs on a diagram, that tells me the angles are congruent. Okay? So let's write that they're congruent. I want to write it out. Could somebody name that first angle for me? 7. Amy, name that first angle.
Angle BEF.
BEF. So angle BEF is congruent to, name the other angle appropriately. Just want to make sure we got this. 8. Josh, name that angle.
Angle XYZ.
XYZ. Perfect. All right, so you expect to see the arc marks for angles, hash marks for segments. All right, how can I do that with my compass now? Make a congruent angle. Ready to go. Let's grab the old compass. Before we start making crazy arcs and everything, let's just make sure we understand the directions. I have angle A up on the board. Everyone sees angle A? You are going to copy it, construct a congruent angle over on B. So an angle consists of 2, what are the 2 sides called again? What do we call those? The 2 rays, right? So you're going to make your first ray right now. Grab your straight edge. Grab your straight edge. From point B, make a ray for me. And that is one side of your angle. Don't make a second ray, please. Just make one ray coming off of point B. All right, so there's one side of your ray. Everyone, that's one side of your angle, okay? The second side we're going to use our compass for now. All right, we're going to build the second side using our compass. So everyone, take your compass for me. I'd like you to put the point on vertex A, the one we're trying to copy. So put your compass point on vertex A. I don't care what the opening is. That doesn't matter here. And what I'd like you to do is, through these 2 rays, make an arc mark. All right, so put your pencil point down. Make an arc mark through those 2 rays. And keep your compass that opening for me. Don't open or close it afterwards. Keep it that same opening. All good? All right, go over and do that same arc on your ray here, but make sure you put your point on B. Compass point on B, make that same arc going through the ray. So everyone should have 2 arcs drawn now. Is everyone all right? I'll wait here, and you guys are still trying to figure out how you're going to hold your compass. All right, go back to angle A. How many points did my arc intersect angle A? How many spots does that arc intersect angle A? 2 spots, agreed? All right, 1, 2. I'd like you to open up your compass to those 2 points, but do not make any markings. Open up your compass to those 2 points. And then here's our final step. We're going to come back over to our ray. But now we are not going to put our compass point on B. We're going to put it on the arc's intersection. And now you should be able to make another arc that intersects the current one that's on your paper. I only need to intersect 1 spot only. above or below your ray, doesn't matter. But I need an arc that intersects the one you already have on there. And again, make sure your compass point is right there where the arc met the ray. And you're about to draw in the second side, the second ray of your angle. Grab your straight edge, line it up with B in that point of intersection, and you should have a nice congruent angle to A. And you want to show me they're congruent? How? What did we just learn? How do I show two angles are congruent? Or in the little arc marks, yep. And this is going back to Matt's question earlier. Just like I do double hash marks, I do double arcs just so you guys can clearly see what I'm talking about. All right. I'm still uncomfortable. All right. Feeling like everyone is grasped this. So instead of me doing this step by step, what I want you to do right now is find some white space. There's some white space, it looks like, right above here. If you didn't make your arc angles too big, here's what I want you to do. Draw your own angle right now that you're about to copy while I walk around. Okay, draw your own angle. Give it a name, angle Y, Z, X, whatever floats your boat. Draw an angle there. And then right next to it, draw yourself a ray that you're going to do the construction on. And I'll walk around. If you need help, no big deal. Just ask. I want to make sure you guys are all good at it. I'll leave my pen. And that term is bisector. Yesterday, I introduced midpoint. What's a midpoint do to a segment? A midpoint does what to a segment? Cuts it in half and also cuts it into two congruent pieces. Well, a bisector is the equivalent for an angle. All right, so forget this angle BAC right here. I want you to draw your own angle BAC for me right here off to the side. Draw your own angle BAC. And the given statement says that, what's this again? How do you say that? Ray AX, right? Well, I already have point A. So off of point A, you're going to make ray AX. So put X somewhere on there. And here's what if I am told something is a bisector, it is cutting the angle into two congruent angles. So originally, I had angle BAC. And when I drew in the ray, it's cutting it into two congruent angles. So can you put arc marks on those two congruent angles for me? Let's start there. Put two arc marks on the angles you think are congruent. All right, somebody name the angles that are congruent for me now. So I can write it. Name the angles that are congruent. And actually, I'm going to write this right under conclusion here. Angle, name the two angles that are congruent. Let's start it up. 5. Haley, what two angles are congruent? Angle?
BAX and AXC, or XAC.
XAC, good. And I'm glad you made that mistake at the beginning. She first said AXC, and when you give me letters, I follow it in that order. So before Haley corrected herself, she said AXC. I'd go here, AXC. That's not the angle I'm looking at. It's not even part of the diagram. You have to go in the correct order when you name an angle. All right? All right, good, perfect. And then some of you I can see on your papers right there, you're doing this for your arc marks. Try to offset it, because when you do something like that, to me, that looks like you're talking about the whole angle, doesn't it? So try to offset those two arc marks for me, so it's clear which two are congruent. All right, these notes are a little longer than I anticipated, so I'm going to skip over the construction on how to do a bisector. We'll get back to that on Tuesday. Instead, I want to do an algebra problem with you. All right, star, good job. Yep, everyone, yes, I can hear under everyone's breath, star. Yep, you got it. Why don't you just keep guessing cube? All right, that's all you got to worry about. All right, you got smacked yesterday with the cube. Your period 3 counterparts got it today, and they did not guess it correctly either. I think, what did they get? They wanted slide left. They voted on, but it was drop. So there you go. All right, so let's look at this algebra problem using a bisector. I need you guys to get into this habit quick, by the end of this unit at least. When you're given a piece of information that's got a vocabulary term, you are now able to take that and mark something on your diagram by yourself. So if you know that Kn bisects angle LKM, you should be able to put 2 congruent marks on angles which you now know are congruent. So now use that given information, look at your diagram, and on your own, can you figure out which 2 angles have to be congruent now? You know what bisects means, cuts it into 2 congruent angles. All right, where are those congruent angles so you can put arc marks on them? See if you can find it. And I'm doing all this before I even read the problem. Oh, it's a bisector. These 2 angles are congruent. What 2 angles did you mark? Help me out. What 2 angles did you mark congruent with arc marks? 1, 3. Kiss. Here we go. Kissania. How did I do? Decent. I'm never going to get it like you, though. All right. All right. I'm going to try, though. Which 2 angles did you mark? Good job. And? Nice job. Good work. Perfect. So those 2 are congruent. Next up, now I can read and label. LKM. Everyone see that angle? LKM. Follow the order of the letters. If you trace it with your finger, your pencil, I don't care. That whole angle has a, oh, sorry. Have you ever seen that little M next to the angle symbol? Measure. That means measure. All right, the measure. Okay, that's the measure. So the measure of LKM, this whole angle has a measure 7x minus 5. All right, measure of NKM, 3x plus 9. Label it. NKM. NKM has a measure of 3x plus 9. Find the measure of LKM, meaning what's the degree measure? How many degrees is in this whole angle here? All right, well, just like our line segments, we're going to need to set up an equation for me to solve for x. Where's that going to come from? This is why I want those darn arc marks there now at the beginning. Didn't I just label this 3x minus 9 or 3x plus 9? Well, guess what I'm going to throw on there now? 3x plus 9 because they're congruent, and you have the arc marks there to show it. Can you come up with an equation now? You did it for segments. Do it for angles now. All right? Are you going to set 3x plus 9 equal to 3x plus 9? No, that's an embarrassment. Stop that. Stop. All right, you're better than that. Set up an equation for me I can solve, though, given all that info. Oh, 10. Matt. Come on, Matt, get it.
3x plus 9.
Yeah.
Plus 3x plus 9.
Darn right.
Equals 7x minus 5.
Yeah, you can stay. Good. Good work. Solve it for x, and then let's answer the question. Remember, x doesn't make you a winner. X doesn't make you a winner sometimes. You need x to figure out the problem, though. So hopefully we're getting 23 for x. Okay, plug it back in to find the measure of LKM. How many degrees in LKM? And what do you have there? 4. Finished it here, Doyle.
70.
Oh, is this the first time your numbers come up?
Second.
Okay. I feel like I've never called on you yet using this, but go ahead.
78.
78.
Yeah.
78.
Keep it around.
And look, hey.
Oh, wait, yeah, I did.
One job. Redeem yourself.
156.
Yeah, all right. Redemption. 156. Good. And because of time constraints, I'm going to stop there. Everyone see what the assignment is due Tuesday on the back. If we have time on Tuesday, I'll finish all these problems up, but everyone sees the assignment that is due Tuesday. They due Tuesday. I'm not going to look at it Monday. I'm just going to give you a quiz on Monday, all right? Okay, I'll be here after school. Also, emailing me is fine too. If you had a general question, you want to email me over the weekend, I will respond. That's not a big deal. Great session today. Good session.